Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Karina. Today, for the first time, I am going to be making freezer meals. I have been wanting to make freezer meals for a very long time. The other day, I was watching Kimmy from She's in Her Apron, and she was sharing this freezer meal book with us. I jumped on Amazon and I ordered it. And as soon as it arrived, I started thumbing through the pages and found a lot of meals that my family would enjoy. There are sections that start with the beginner all the way through to experienced, and they include a grocery list. I am starting out with the beginner section because I have never made a freezer meal before. They are pretty simple and they sound delicious. So today I am going to accomplish putting together 4 freezer meals for my family and an extra side dish that I looked up online, and it is fresh frozen corn. These recipes you do not need to freeze. If any of these interest you, you can always make them that day and they turn out just as good. Jason is cutting up the meats. So for the freezer meals, he is prepping the meats right now for that. And the chicken, he is cutting up into bite-sized pieces. And the pork we already have in the refrigerator. He sliced up the pork for one of the meals. And then that way, I don't have as much prep work to do on the day that I am making the freezer meals. Unfortunately, a couple of my meats were put in the freezer and frozen, but I'm gonna go ahead and just prepare them according to the recipe, and I think everything will be perfectly fine. I am going to start off with teriyaki chicken. The recipe calls for cooked chicken. I want to make 2 of the teriyaki chicken meals. One is going to be tonight for dinner and the other one will go in the freezer. So I have all of my chicken in the pan and I'm going to cook that. The recipe does not say, but I seasoned it with a little bit of salt and pepper. While that's cooking, I'm going to get started on Herbes De Provence chicken. For seasonings, you need some Herbes De Provence. The recipe calls for fresh lemon juice, but I have refrigerated. Some olive oil, black pepper, red wine vinegar, minced garlic, Dijon mustard, and an onion thinly sliced. You're going to start off with 1 tablespoon of red wine vinegar, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, a half a teaspoon of lemon juice, half a teaspoon of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1½ teaspoon of the Herbes De Provence, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm not going to measure mine, I'm just going to put black pepper in there. You're supposed to put this in an aluminum pan, but I'm just putting mine in a baggie. And I'm going to add the onion into the bag. If you're using an aluminum pan, you need to line at the bottom of your aluminum pan with the onion. Then I'm going to seal it and get as much of the air out of it as I possibly can. And I'm going to write the instructions on the bag. This one is cranberry pork roast. You actually are supposed to leave your pork whole, but I cut mine up into slices because I want to really get the seasoning all the way through the pork. So for the ingredients, you're going to need a little bit of ground nutmeg, some salt and pepper, orange juice, whole berry cranberry sauce, some crushed rosemary, and marjoram. In a small bowl, you need a teaspoon of rosemary, a ½ teaspoon of marjoram, calls for a ½ teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm going to mix these ingredients together. Then you are going to get another bowl. You are going to put your cranberry sauce into the bowl and break it up. And you are going to need a half a cup of orange juice. And the recipe calls for a pinch of nutmeg. Going to mix this together. This smells like the holidays. Oh goodness, this is perfect for the fall season. I'm gonna set that aside. You're gonna get your pork and those seasonings that you mix together. I'm gonna dump the seasonings over the pork. Going to set that pork aside. I need to reserve 1 cup of the sauce in a quart-size freezer bag. Before I pour the rest of the sauce into the bag with the pork loin, I want to write my instructions on here. On the sauce, I'm going to write cranberry sauce with pork, and that will go on top of the meat before you start cooking it. This one is a really simple recipe. This is smoky pulled pork sandwiches. All you need is some pork. I'm using pork loin, some root beer, and some smoky barbecue sauce. You're going to need a medium-sized bowl. You're going to need 2 cups of smoky barbecue sauce. You are going to need 12 ounces of root beer. I am mixing these together. And then I'm going to reserve 1 cup of this sauce. I'm going to put it in a quart-size freezer bag. With the remaining of the sauce, I'm going to put that into the bag with the pork loin. I already wrote the instructions out on the pork loin. When you are ready to cook it, you're going to place it in the crock pot on low for 8 to 10 hours. Before I pour the sauce in the freezer bag, I'm going to write the instructions on that. These are going to go into the freezer, and we will be eating these in the near future. This recipe is for the teriyaki chicken. So I have cooked and cooled my chicken. For seasonings, it needs brown sugar, cornstarch, sesame seeds, some tamari sauce, and minced garlic. I'm going to start off by writing the instructions on my Ziploc freezer bag. Going to put half of that chicken in this bag and make the freezer meal first. Okay, in a medium-sized bowl, you are going to pour in 2 cups of water. 1.5 cups of brown sugar. 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. Half a cup of the tamari sauce. 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of sesame seeds. Going to whisk all of this together, and then we are going to pour it over the chicken, and that's it. It just goes right into the freezer. I am making the teriyaki for our dinner tonight. So first thing I need to do is preheat my oven to 400. I sprayed a 9x13 pan lightly with cooking spray. And I'm just going to dump all the chicken and the sauce into this pan. This really smells good. I hope it's as good or even better as it smells. Because if it is, this will be a keeper. I put the chicken down into the sauce and it is ready to go into the oven. Look at that, perfect timing. I'm gonna put it in the oven for 45 minutes. I'm going to make some white rice and I'm gonna make some brown rice. The sauce thickened up just a little bit. I think it's gonna be perfect over that rice. Sure smells good. This is a first for us too. We are going to freeze corn. So we had purchased this corn at the local farmer's market. Jason husked it and we're trying to get a lot of the silk off from the corn. And I am starting off by boiling some water and we're going to put the corn in the water to boil. Okay, so it says to put several ears of corn into the boiling water. We actually have some smaller ones because we're cutting off the bad parts of the corn. Okay, and we're going to let those go for 4 minutes in the boiling water. After the corn boils for the 4 minutes, then we are gonna take it and put it into ice water for another 4 minutes. Okay, this is the final batch. Be interesting to see how many bags of corn we get out of this. So on the bags, I am writing the date today, or the month and the year for today, 8/2020, and I'm putting that it expires 8/2021. It says that you can have frozen corn for 8 to 12 months. Jason took them out of the ice bath and he put them into a strainer in the sink to drain. This is the tool that he is going to use to take the corn off of the cob. The website where I found the instructions said that you can freeze corn on the cob, but they said a lot of times corn on the cob turns out mushy. So me and Jason are not going to take a chance on that. I will have the website with the instructions in the description. We ended up with 3 quart-sized bags of the corn. We took a nibble and oh my goodness, they taste amazing. I did end up putting about a teaspoon of sugar in the water for it to boil. I think that just brought out the sweetness of the corn, just a hint of it. Now that we know how easy it is to get corn ready to freeze in our freezer, we might go out and get some more because we have a really good corn chowder recipe. I'll have it linked below, and I told Jason this would be so good in our corn chowder too. The teriyaki chicken was delicious and it is definitely a keeper. We are looking very forward to making the freezer meal in the future. I am so glad I chose to do this because now I have 4 meals for me and my family to have in the next month or so. Especially with this busy season that we have starting out, it is going to come in very handy on nights where I just don't have a meal plan and I can go to the freezer, pull out a meal, and make it for my family. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful day and I will see you soon.